good news, guys, is that he actually does have nipple piercings in the book.
Like, either I'm an illiterate fuck, my brain is broken, or like, this is bad.
I don't know why you're listening to me. I'm wrong a lot.
And Batman.
It's Batman Zootopia.
All I could do is moth him.
Fucking love a creme brulee.
It's like a milk bath.
Go get this person, bitch.
I think that I might have injured my thigh, too. Buckets and buckets.
She is built, bitch. Holy shit. How's it going? Oh, it's so gross. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I thought about that too. I was like, wow, I grabbed the crunchiest fucking snack.
Yep.
Crystal's gonna hate me.
That's fine.
It's a good thing I know where the mute button is now.
You've known this whole time, you just choose not to use it, or you use it
And then don't realize I'm muted.
that you're muting yourself and that you weren't muted to begin with. Yeah.
That's where I would beg to differ, that I don't know how to use the mute button.
Fair point. Have you seen the videos of people putting Barbie dolls dressed as Taylor Swift on top of Roombas? Have you seen that?
No, but I
Oh.
can picture it in my mind, and now
I
need
just
it in
had
my
one pop
life.
up on my For You page.
I mean, it makes sense.
I've seen it where cats are sitting on top of Roombas.
I was
and
gonna
I've
say
done
I
it.
could probably put my cat, because he's all white, like her white outfit. Wonder if I can put a cape on Ghost and let him.
So I've seen
Roomba.
I've seen a lot of cat on Roombas with that song playing too. But I saw the Barbie one earlier, and I've seen a couple of the Barbie ones.
Hey, do you want to go for a ride?
Have a
Who's
Roomba?
afraid of little old you? No. Came right over and talked about it, and then he's like, "Nope." He's
It's like, bitch, I don't know what you're planning, but no, thank you. I don't want any part
he
of it.
does not ride on the vacuum, so he
Well,
is not one of those cats. He is a
No.
scared ass little fuck, so he is not interested in that.
uh,
Oh, we could put these dolls on the Roomba, though.
oh my god, we could make it dirty.
That's what I mean. Who's afraid
Who
of little old me?
allowed us to? So, welcome to June. When did that happen?
Drop my pen.
A week ago, actually.
I dropped my pen. What?
What do you need a pen? See, she doesn't pay attention to me.
It's June. Yes.
I said, when did that happen? Probably a week ago.
And I said I dropped my pen.
Anyways, welcome to June. Anyway,
Yes. Hello, June.
if you're thinking,
Hello, June.
Crystal,
Hey, June.
weren't you doing all of May? And then you were able to take a break? I also thought that.
Except, Crystal, this is not the first episode of June. This is the second episode of June. We're just recording it early.
I'm aware. This is the first regular episode of June.
Nope.
Yes, it is. I like how you argue with me, and then you're like, nope, just kidding. That's like the second or third time you've done it with dates. And I'm like, it's literally written down right now.
And I had to look at my calendar and be like, oh, just kidding.
Oh my God. You
And
know,
oh my God, you should see your face.
you should have seen your face.
I will later, maybe tomorrow.
I also thought
you.
I was taking a break. You know what? The wheel, though, decided it wasn't done with me and that I had to do
Nope.
another one.
It
Am I
just-
tired?
It just the hits just keep on coming.
And they don't stop coming and they don't stop coming. And literally, they don't stop coming.
Welcome to Minotaur land, because if you thought that regular men had enough, Minotaurs are, a whole different bucket loads of fun. Gallons and gallons of.
I need a new pod. Anyways,
But I make life interesting.
you do. If you want to know how much bucket loads, you can also read Morning Glory Milking Farm because it's a whole book about it.
Or you can read the book that we are talking about today.
Well, I would have
Because-
they've already read it.
This week we read Mail Order Minotaur by
Lilith Stone.
Lilith Stone. Thank you. My Kindle screen blacked out in the middle of me saying that. Lilith Stone.
Oh my God. The good news, though, is this was a novella, so it wasn't nearly as bad as the entire month of May for me. So there's that. Before we begin, the book did come with a very, very tiny, small content warning, which was just mentions of parental death, parental disability, and chronic pain. And it is probably one of the shortest lists we have ever had, besides none.
Except, well, I was going to say except none. And
Except
it's
for
been a
none,
long
this,
time.
this is
Yeah.
seriously like the shortest one. 3 things.
Yeah. And there's a map in the beginning of the
Literally,
book.
I love a book with a map.
It was
Love a
so
book.
cool.
Do I totally forget all about these maps when I read them? For sure. Never
I
remember where
highlight them so
anything
I can go
is.
back. Yeah, but I do that? No,
Do I?
most of the
I
time,
don't
no.
know. I'm like,
Do
oh,
I
this is a
think
cool
about
map,
it?
right?
Absolutely.
Also, this cover, stop making the face. The cover of the book was interesting because it's a
I need to add more
Minotaur with
water.
nipple piercings. And the good news, guys, is that he actually does have nipple piercings in the book instead of
So
just
it
like having. And
matches.
also, listen, Ariel
We need to
text.
keep the positives coming because
Oh, great. So Ariel also texted me to have me read the first paragraph because there was a severe grammatical error in it. And we were
several.
concerned that it was going to carry on throughout the book. I don't think it was as severe as
It was
that
not
first
as severe as
sentence.
the first page.
There
No.
was a lot of like missing commas and like some
Yes,
spacing
the book
issues and
as
stuff,
a
but
whole had a huge editing problem. But when you start it, the first paragraph, I found like 5 errors at least in. I literally sat there and read it like 7 times, and I was like, either I'm an illiterate fuck, my brain is broken, or like this is bad. So I was like, I need Crystal to make sure that I'm not just like illiterate as fuck right now because it
and
was
she happened to ask
a
me
rough moment.
on the day that I had had 3 hours of sleep.
So that just tells
I
you how
also had a
bad
hard
it
time reading that
was.
first sentence. I was like, what is
I was
going
like,
But you know what? It's fine. And we're here
was
now.
it was not that prevalent throughout the entire thing. There
Yes.
were errors throughout the entire book. Yes, it definitely needed to be edited. It drove me nuts. However, it
We've read
wasn't
worse.
as bad. We have read worse, and it wasn't as bad as the first page. So the first
Yeah.
page was definitely a turnoff. It was like, whoa.
So just
But
as
once
a
you got
heads
into the
up, once you
story, it
get
was
through
better.
that, then you should be fine.
Yeah.
So this book is also in third person. It also
Yes.
did not
I
bother
feel
me
like
though.
a lot of these little kind of monster-esque type world novellas end up being third person, which it is what it is. But it
Yeah, it
wasn't
didn't
that
bother me.
shitty
No,
third
limited
it wasn't that
one
limited
they
third
don't like.
person that the last Minotaur book we read was.
So we open this book with Ivy, and she is a tour guide for the Beast Hunters. And she is currently trying to get the current I don't
Beast
know why I wrote it like
Hunters.
that. Huh? All I could think of was ghost hunters for some reason. Anyways, she is currently trying to get the group a piece of the like the kernel got stuck on like the back of my throat. It hit just weird. And I was trying to get it off. So, anyways, sorry. It was that or stick my finger down my throat, but apparently that was the better of the two ways. Anyways, so she is currently
I don't know,
trying
it's that
to
kind of podcast, maybe no.
know these videos. We're not giving free content, okay? I swear to God, I'm gonna try to get through this fucking sentence. We're 2 seconds into this podcast. She
Yeah,
is
I want my tacos. Let's go.
currently trying to get the. It's not even Tuesday. Why are you eating tacos?
It's not the only day of the week you
It's
can eat
Taco Tuesday.
tacos. I'm
Anyways,
making steak tacos.
so okay, she's trying to get the current group of people to finish up what they're buying and get back on the fucking bus. As this is happening, another tour bus pulls up alongside them. It's called Trixie's Tours, which is a rival tour guide company. So when Mothman City, it's actually Motham. I don't know why I wrote Mothman. It's Motham.
Like Gotham,
Oh, you know
like
why? Because I think I
Batman.
corrected it to Mothman.
Had Batman the whole time.
Dude,
It's like Motham, and then we have the
Motham.
purple light, like the green,
Motham.
purple lantern, like the Green Lantern. And I was like, dude, this is Batman.
It is. It's Batman. It's canon now.
Batman.
When
Batman.
Motham City opened up to humans a decade ago, Beast Hunters was the first company to run tours in Motham. It allows it allows people from the gated towns nearby to monster watch from a safe distance. A few months ago, Trixie's Tours went up to them and started to do tours in the sleazy parts of Motham. And now they were out booking Beast Hunters. I know there's a lot of speciesism, I guess. Because listen, it's like Zootopia.
Classism, all that jazz. Yeah.
This is Zootopia.
And Batman.
It's Batman Zootopia with sex and buckets of cum.
And we're done.
That's it. End of episode. Help me. And now they were out booking Beast Hunters. If this kept going, Ivy was going to lose her job and have to move back to her parents. And she didn't want that. That was fucking boring. We don't want that shit. These days, people really wanted what Trixie's had to offer. They wanted to see the vampires and werewolves and the buffed out Minotaurs. And man, she didn't know what it was about those Minotaurs, but they got her all hot and bothered. Oof. After seeing one of her tour customers with a brochure for Trixie's, Ivy decides, you know what? We're going to take a detour. We're going to stop off at the Purple Lantern District. Of course, the bus driver, Tony, is like, you're kidding me, right? Like, the boss is going to go fucking nuts. But Ivy asks the group, like, who wants to go and who wants to visit it? And obviously, like, a majority of these people want to do it, except for this one wife who, like, tries to, like, shove her fucking husband's hand down. Then we get Bryn. And they're not labeled at the top, but it is, like, dually point of view, kind of, sort of, in a way. But it's fine. I think that they're like sectioned off enough that it was easy to tell who was who for myself.
And since it was third person, they made sure to be descriptive third person enough that it was talking about the person in like the first sentence, so you knew.
Yes. So I thank God for that shit. I've read too many books where I don't know who the person is for like 3 pages. So Bryn is the MMC of this book, and he is just sitting at work, and he thinks he hears the familiar noise of a bus coming down the road. He thinks it's Trixie's, because Trixie's bus goes there all the time. But it's also like a bit earlier than usual, except when he looks out, it's not the bright pink bus, it's a blue one. He has never seen the Beast Hunter's bus in this part of town. He spots the tour guide, and she reminds him of an old fashioned air hostess, so she's obviously way out of her depths here. Then this lady starts loudly announcing on a loudspeaker how bad the monsters in the area are, which is a dumb move, but also makes Bryn roll his eyes and then have like a weird little surge of protectiveness go through him. This woman is going to get herself into some serious fucking trouble. And she's just looking around, and then they lock eyes. And man, does her staring at him send just a bolt of energy through him and his cock. So it feels as though he was destined to mate with her, which is so crazy to him because he has never seen this woman in his entire life. And he can sense that she's having the exact same reaction. And then all of a sudden, the tension is broken when screams are happening.
It's that whole monster fated mates thing.
Yes. There's a succubus and a human or arguing with each other. Ivy knows that things are going downhill, and this is a complete fucking disaster of trip. The woman is arguing with the succubus, and she is also swinging her purse at this poor defenseless monster creature person. And the woman's husband just starts heading back to the bus. Apparently, the succubus was going to sleep with this woman's husband, but they simply say that the husband was willing to pay top dollar. The woman swings her purse, but the succubus ducks, and Ivy gets hit right in the fucking face with this purse. She stumbles back. She just hits a giant wall of muscle. It's Bryn. He's surveying her face and tells her she's probably going to have a big old black eye. And of course, the fighting going on in the background just fades away as she feels this man's hands on her. He's not a man. He's a Minotaur.
Not a girl, yet a woman. He's not a man. He's a Minotaur.
He offers to take care of the two fighting and then tells her he's going to get her all sorted out after that happens. He's going to take care of her injury to her face. Bryn leads her into a building, into an office, which is his building of his business, so that he can fix her up. The office she's in has like these deep red walls, and on one of the walls, there's a huge photo board that has bare chested minotaurs on it. And some shots of them have their arms around human women, and some were even kissing. And below the board, it says mail order Minotaur, delivering fantasies for over a decade. Ooh.
Yes, please, Daddy. We can cut that.
No, I love it so much. The look on your face as soon as you were done was so funny. It was great. So now, Ivy has been totally sheltered from the seedier part of life. Everything from school to college to even her tours have been safe. But then she just thinks that if this place is a male escort service, is her like rescuer for hire? This thought turns her on so much. And then, shit, she remembers.
We should mention that for some reason, she has always had this
Minotaur
fantasy for Minotaurs. This weird, as long as she could remember, this weird obsession with Minotaurs and wonder what it would be like and she can't explain why
Nope.
she feels this way.
No, but she also remembers that Minotaurs have a really good sense of smell. And now she's embarrassed that he could totally smell her arousal. Bryn comes back in with a bowl of water and a cloth to clean her up. Of course, none of her thoughts are clean as he is doing this.
So this lady hits her in the face with a purse, resulting in bruising her face. What is a bowl of
Literally,
water and a
don't I
cloth
have
going
any
to do?
idea.
Just curious.
Maybe she was bleeding a little and he was just cleaning up the blood. I have no idea. It
From
would
what
be
I could
better with
tell, it
an
was
ice
just a
pack.
bruise. Yeah.
Girl,
I'm
I don't
just
fucking know.
just saying.
I had the same question because I went back because I was like, oh, with ice. I'm like, nope, hot bowl of water and a cloth. Yeah. All she can think about is that what it would be like to have that tongue of his diving into her mouth or even just between her thighs. Ivy, though, gets snapped out of it and he tells her that his name is Bryn. She asks about the place and he tells her that yes, he runs it and he hires out male escorts. Ivy is curious if he's also one of them. No, he's not. He started the business 10 years
No, I'm
ago,
not.
but he doesn't currently escort. Then this woman just asks him if he's for hire. This shocks Bryn, and he's not sure if he should laugh or kiss her senseless, because those are two exact ideas, the exact same thing. He tells her that it's his business, but he doesn't work in it. She tries to recover, saying she's just asking for a friend. Obviously, he knows that's not true. We also all know that's not true. But he tells her that if her friend wants to talk to him, here's his card, and he might be able to point her in the right direction. She takes the card and gets the hell out of there. Bryn wants to forget about her, and he gets on his motorcycle and heads out. We learn a little bit about his family life, that he's the eldest of 5 kids, and his parents had a good marriage. Unfortunately, though, his dad had a freak accident at work and died when a huge crane dropped a load of steel right on top of him. His mom. His mom had been pregnant at the time, and the birth of her child had been hard, and these days she could barely walk. After that, Bryn stopped playing up to his bad boy image and built up his escort business. And now he has a team of 15 Minotaurs, and it's brought in plenty of money. When he arrives at his house, his mom's caretaker, Donna, tells him that his mom had a fall and to come help. Bryn is a big man, so it's easier for him to help his mom up than she is. She apparently had wanted to make cookies for
Big
2 of his
manly
siblings.
man.
I mean, she had apparently wanted to make cookies for her 2 of his siblings, Mia and Archie, and thought that she could walk the few steps to the pantry, but her legs gave out. She asks him how work was and wishes that he'd meet someone special, that it's always on her mind, and that her oldest boy needs to find his fated mate. Bryn tells her that he's not sure that's ever going to happen, but she insists that you never know and that it can happen out of the blue. Just let that sink into your head right now. He humors her about the fated mate thing, but he doesn't really believe in the old-fashioned beliefs. He tells her he's just gonna go check on the young ones, and as he's taking care of everyone, his brain just goes back to thinking about Ivy and wondering if she saw him in currently and is all his, I can't say this word, domesticity. Why can't I say these words? His domestic life. There we go. If she would be interested in hiring him as an escort, because he's just all domesticated.
A different side of him.
Yeah, soft aside. But he needs to snap out of it. And uptight little Ivy might be cute, but she was definitely not the one. Okay. Meanwhile, Ivy was getting everyone back on the bus, and she managed to calm down the crazy fucking woman who was arguing with her husband, but also some of the other people who really wanted to stay longer. They went to their next stop at the Elf Grotto Diner, and she went to the bathroom to fix herself up. She took out the business card that Bryn gave her, and she put his number into her phone. Just the thought of him made her all hot and bothered. And she has to think to herself, what are you hoping for, Ivy? I think we all know what she's thinking and what she's hoping for. She wants to take a ride on that Minotaur for sure. She wants to ride that motherfucker. Or he can ride her. One of the two.
Ride, Ivy, ride.
A woman from the tour group approaches her and asks if the stop into the Purple Lantern District was going to be a regular thing and that she should tell her boss to put it in the itinerary because they would totally book again if it was. Ivy finally heads home and we get a little bit of a backstory about Motham City. It was started out as a place for monsters after the Great War. But instead of destroying each other, all I had was the Great War from Taylor Swift in my head, but we're there. Instead of destroying each other, the monsters built a city that survived and thrived. Ivy was brought up with parents that said, like, during the spring months, they were forbidding their daughters from going past the gates because of the whole, mating season thing. Minotaurs were bad news. But after today, Ivy has changed her opinions. When she makes it up to her apartment, she runs into her neighbor, Shauna, who lives in the apartment opposite of her. Shauna asks what happened to her face. Ivy lies, and Shauna makes it known to her that she can trust her and she can always tell her if something really did happen, like if a boyfriend hit her. This woman, though, is a great person. I liked her. So, yeah. Bryn is walking Mia, his youngest sister, to school. Just so you know, I didn't know how old this child was until like 90% of the way through this book. She's 5, by the way. She's 5. I had no idea. We didn't know how long ago the dad died. Like, it's one of those things. Anyways,
I think it did say how long the dad died in the beginning when he talked about his dad dying.
I didn't think he did. Doesn't
I,
matter.
I don't know. I thought so, but maybe not.
I could also be very wrong. I don't know why you're listening to me. I'm wrong a lot. But he's walking her to school, and he really wishes that his dad could have seen her and that it was really hard being the man of the family sometimes. He thinks about what it would be like to live in a civilized town like Tween. These city names, by the way, are wild, and I don't like them. Because all I think of when I read tween is like what you call children. Not quite a teen, but you're a tween.
Yes, but they were doing like tween, like in
I know,
between.
like
Yeah,
between.
yeah.
I get it. I just didn't like it. Anyway, so tween, which is like the fancy places. And then his mind starts to think about Ivy. And I mean, it's getting close to rutting season. So this also means that he's going to start getting a lot of calls into the agency around this time. He's trying so hard to focus on all the business tasks that he needs to do, but man, his thoughts keep circling back to Ivy. He gets some really graphic fantasies about her, and he jerks off. He looks at himself in the mirror. He looks like a minotaur in mate thrall, but he is minus a mate. And he needs to halt all of this madness about Ivy, or he's going to go insane. Bryn heads to the Right Bite, which is a cafe run by elves, and he runs into Orla St. John. She is the tour guide for Trixie's. What's up?
So it's like the next page after he talks about his dad's death that he says Mia's now 5 after the birth and
Gotcha.
everything, and that
Yep.
Archie's 10.
So Orla apologizes for not making it yesterday, but the big consensus from everyone was to go to the mud wrestling instead. She also tells him that she heard that beast hunters had made an appearance and that apparently he dragged Ivy into his office. Bryn makes it clear he did not drag her. He was just taking care of her. Orla says that he escorted her, escorted, quote unquote, and that she can imagine that Ivy, being a high class tween girl, was desperate to get laid by a Minotaur. She is literally just antagonizing this man, and he leaves the cafe. When Ivy gets into work the next day, her boss wants to talk with her. She's thinking, oh shit, this ain't gonna be good. Harold starts out saying, Ivy Deacon takes on the Purple Lantern District, and by that bruise on your face, it looks like the Lantern District won. Which, true. He's gotten a lot of calls, and listening to the customers really opened up his eyes because most of them wanted more tours to the Purple Lantern. I kept wanting to call it the Purple Light District, but it's not. It's just the Purple Lantern District.
See, if you have Batman in your head, it helps.
I think I had the Red Light District from Paris stuck in my head, so I don't, because it's sex.
All I could do is Motham and like Gotham and
Green Lantern and Purple Light. I
yes.
got you.
Yeah.
Got it. My brain just wasn't there. So they wanted more tours to do to the Purple Lantern District and that she should take a week off and do some research so she can get to know the area better. Even find a mentor to show her the ropes. I think we all know where this is going. But before she decides to call Bryn to ask for his help, she's going to research him a little bit. She brings up the website for mail order Minotaur, and she sees a photo of Bryn, no shirt on, nipple rings, and all, and jeans so low and so tight. And then a video starts, which is just him selling the service. It's like when you go on somewhere and they've got like the welcome to
A
this.
promo video.
Yeah, but this man is just talking so sultry through this video and it starts to turn Ivy on. So she decides to masturbate to the video because, of course, and she keeps replaying it so she can continue. And now she's thinking about how is she going to talk to him after that? Because now she's kind of embarrassed and like, how am I going to look him in the eyes? As if he knows. She really and truly thinks he is the only one who can help her out. So she calls him, and after an intensely awkward phone conversation, she tells him all about Harold wanting her to add the district to the tour and that she needs to know more about it. He is all too happy to help her out, and they agree to go to dinner. He does not want payment because Harold said, just pay a mentor, and Harold's willing, but he does agree to let her pay for dinner. They are going to eat in the trading area, and she has never been there before, and she's never had the courage to go there before either. It's a restaurant in the trading like area place. It's a part of Motham where humans and monsters openly fraternize. But they're going to meet up at 7 on Friday for dinner. Of course, Ivy has no idea what to wear. She doesn't really have anything that she owns that could pull off like a sexy and sophisticated vibe because all she's got is fucking work clothes and comfy clothes. But then she sees Shauna walking across the street and it hits her that, oh my God, I need Shauna and I need her input. And she runs out of her apartment and catches Shauna before Shauna goes into her own apartment, and she just tells her that she was just thinking of doing a little late night shopping and asks what she would recommend to her and what would suit her. Shauna asks what she's wanting it for, and Ivy just tells her it's for a professional appointment. Shauna's like, it's a date. And Ivy's like, it's not a date. We all know it's going to be a date, guys. Shauna says, you know what? We need to go find you something to play in because Ivy does not have anything because Shauna has stuff for work and for play. Yeah, we do. Ivy's just so surprised that another woman is being so friendly to her because obviously she grew up in a super rich, snobby town. So she's not used to women actually being nice. So they head out to go shopping, and Shauna asks her to tell her a little bit about this dinner date. And she ends up telling her the story of how she got her bruised cheek. She does skip over the fact that Bryn was rescuing her, but it's fine. And Shauna asks her if she found a mentor because she also informs her of how her boss wants her to find a mentor for the Purple Lantern District. Ivy says, yes, I found a Minotaur. And Shauna's like super interested in this because they are known for a certain kind of mentoring. Ivy insists it is not like that, but you know what? Shauna is going to find her something really nice to wear. Turns out Shauna has gotten a degree in fashion design, but she currently works in real estate. And it happened because she was like dating a vampire in the fashion industry and things went complicated and it just did not fucking go well. So now she does real estate. And then they walk out of the shop and get what they need. Shauna asks her if she wants to grab a bite to eat, and Ivy thinks that she wants to go home because she's already taking up half of this poor woman's evening. But Shauna insists that she would rather get to know Ivy better and that she's been meaning to get together with her. And what better time than now? So Shauna asks her to tell her more about her mentor. Ivy talks about him a little bit and decides that she needs to come clean about him and tells Shauna that he runs a male escort service. And then Shauna just starts doing a little girl talk with her and asking if he has a cute butt and if he's got a nice tail, and then warns her that Minotaur's tails are very sensitive. But Shauna also kind of gives her a little bit of insight to her relationship with the vampire she had. And then she says that relationships with monsters nearly always run into problems, but they're so tempting, which is the problem with it. She just doesn't want Ivy to end up heartbroken. Bryn ends up getting to the restaurant 5 minutes early, and he is definitely very nervous about this. And he orders a low alcohol beer, and then he sees her, and instantly he is turned on. The place that they're eating at is called the Goblin's Den. It's a pretty fancy place, and it was one of the first restaurants in this district, and the food is extremely good. Ivy hints that she is really big into desserts and tells him that she's basically addicted to cinnamon rolls, which in his brain, he's like, I need to bring her a cinnamon roll and a cup of tea for breakfast in bed. And he's like, that's never gonna happen. It's you guys are so in your own head. During dinner, Bryn asks her what she wants to know about the Purple Lantern District. And of course, she just says, how long do you got? Because she's got a lot of questions. I also would have a lot of questions if I had never been into a place like this. Maybe says that the Purple Lantern District has always had this kind of a reputation. And Bryn tells her that maybe it did a century ago, but despite the rumors, the Purple Lantern District is actually a pretty friendly place. She's a little bit surprised about it because she did not have the greatest start of being in this place. And she asks what other businesses should she know about on this trip apart from his. And she goes, you know what? Why don't you actually tell me more about this mail order Minotaur business? And he's like, do you really want to know? Obviously, she does. It'll definitely be like a drawing point for a lot of the women on the tours. And also, she wants to know how it got its name. I guess They used to email people, and it was kind of like a fun twist on like a mail order bride situation. Bryn has 15 guys that work for him, ranging from the ages of 18 to 25. And we learned that like 25 is about when Minotaurs like to settle down. And Bryn had given up the work about 4 years ago because of family problems. And he was needed at home more, and then the hours just didn't suit it. Ivy asks what services his business offers, and Bryn tells her anything from a meal out to an innocent peck on the cheek, and also full on works. What do you think she wants? And he describes what could potentially happen with the full works. And he does offer to send her some brochures if she would like him. She thinks that's a great idea. And it could be very, very helpful. She does seem a little bit uncomfortable after all of this, and Bryn makes sure that she's okay and asks if he shocked her. And Ivy just says, to be honest, it's all rather new to me. Bryn asks her about herself, and she just tells him that her parents weren't happy when she took the job with Beast Hunters because Motham isn't where respectable girls work, and they're from a pretty upper class family, so they have their expectations. There's still obviously a lot of bias when it comes to monsters, and he asks how she landed the job with Beast Hunters, and she just says she landed it by accident, and then casually mentions that she was going to be working at the Lakes Resort and that a girl from her school eloped with a Minotaur. I don't know why I got thrown in the middle of this conversation, and then she often wondered, if it worked out for them. And Bryn tells her, Minotaur human relationships often fall apart, though there are a few matches that work, and that is mom and dad were one. And then she goes back to talking about how she got this job. But she was away training and her final semester of college, and the woman running the tour like fell over and broke her leg, and she took over from there. And the tour guide put in a good word for her with Harold, who's the owner. And then she took over, of course. Throughout this whole dinner, she just keeps sneaking little looks at him, and all of a sudden, she just remembers the video and she's trying to get it out of her own head and just says that if Beast Hunters fails, she might have to return to Tween. And the thought of it makes her want to die inside. And it's just because it's boring, which fair. She likes doing this. Bryn suggests dessert. And while she was about to say no, he let her know that this place has the best creme brulee. Honestly, that is the way to get me. I fucking love a creme brulee. I haven't had creme brulee in so long.
I'm just not as easy with like, oh, dessert will get me. You know what I mean?
Fucking,
I'm more of a
I am
savory
a
will get me
slut
than a
for creme
sweet.
brulee. Are you kidding me? That shit's so good.
Hmm.
It's a little like crisp top. Anyways, all throughout this meal, Brenda's really trying to keep his libido. Why did I say libido? It's libido. Libido in
Come
check.
here, libido. Come here.
He's trying to keep his libido in check, but she is turning him on, and all he can think of is, you are mine. And none of this makes any sense to him because he's a
You
Minotaur.
belong
He
to
is not a romantic
me.
centaur, for God's sakes.
Have you
And of course,
ever
when
thought
when
just
Minotaurs fall in love, they're loyal to the death, but they only fall in love once in a lifetime, and they very rarely fall for humans. So none of this is literally making any sense to him in his head. But then he thinks about, like, what if I just gave into this and explored it? What harm could it do? And, I'm so done with analyzing everything. He just knows that being around Ivy makes him feel really good. And maybe he can make her feel really good too, even if it was just for one night. But they head out, and she's going to catch a cab to go back home. And as she is heading over to her cab, something comes fucking running out of the corner. She also gets knocked to the ground because this feral thing, it's called a feral, grabs her fucking purse. She twists her goddamn ankle, and this motherfucker takes off with her purse. Bryn's like, oh my God. But hold on a second. I have a friend named Grayson who runs a top security firm in Motham, and he is going to call him and get her purse back. So he does. He calls him, hey, yo, this street, blah, blah, blah. This thing looks like this. Go get this purse, bitch. Just, he didn't say that part. But, and Ivy asks what this thing is, and he calls it a were monkey. Okay. What the fuck is a were monkey?
so? They're all the monsters are trapped in this one little bubble of a town. So over the years, there has been some crossbreeding, and come to find out, some of it has worked, some of it has not. So sometimes when it has not worked, creatures that are born have severe problems and disabilities that limit their function to survive. They're the riffraffs of the town. They scrounge for food. They have no ability to work, they have no skills, and they just steal. for what they have because they're just like little gremlins. Like
But they're more like,
that's
yeah, it
how it
would
was
be the gremlins.
explained.
They're not like the mogwai because the mogwai are the cute ones. The
That's how
gremlins
it
are the
was.
terrifying ones.
That's how it was explained.
Ah, I like that. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for that history lesson. So Bryn wants her to come back to his office until Grayson's team finds her purse. She's okay with that. So they head back to his office in a cab. When they get settled in there, he takes a look at her ankle because she had twisted it after the stupid thing grabbed her purse. And he asks her, like, oh, can I examine it? You do? You want to do that? Ivy says yes. And Ivy thanks him for tonight and that it was amazing. And that his insights into Motham will really help her towards making this tour come alive. And then she
Oh, you're
asks,
doing such a good job on my ankle. I think that I might have injured my thigh too.
he's massaging her calf, and she goes, oh, I think I got a bruise on my thigh. Can you check? And he just runs his hand up her legs, and then he goes under her dress and tells her, I'm not going to lie. I'd like to taste you, Ivy. And she agrees and wants this to happen. So he eats her out. And then at the end, he tells her, you taste divine Aruda. I think that's how we pronounce it.
I was doing Aruda.
Yeah, I'm not rolling my R's.
Aruda.
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 Like Aruba,
Ar-
but with a D.
Aru no
I know
U.
it's Aruda, but
Aruda.
I'm just saying
Yeah.
I didn't want to roll my R's. No Minotaur has ever said these two words lightly, and there's no exact translation to what it means, but they were only spoken at times of deep mate bonding. And now he's like, why the fuck did they slip out so easily from this interaction? They were such powerful words to be saying out loud, let alone to a human and a human he just met. She says that she has no idea what came over her. And Bryn says she did not force him to do anything and that it was his pleasure and that he enjoyed every second of her and his needs are fine and she does not need to take care of him because she goes, yeah, but like, what about that? He's obviously got a raging heart on. And then they get a knock at the door and it's Grayson and he's a gargoyle and he has her purse and he can sense things going on between the two of them. So Grayson asks her, you know, what brings you to this part of the city? And Ivy explains to him about the tours and how she met Bryn for dinner and then the whole situation with the creature. But Grayson also just keeps talking, and this man apparently never talks. So Bryn is getting jealous, but he's also like, I'm not getting jealous. He's totally getting jealous, by the way. He can lie to himself all he wants. So Grayson finally says goodbye, and Bryn insists that he walks her to the cab because he doesn't want anything else to happen to her. Ivy gets a phone call from her mom asking when she's coming home, and they haven't seen her in over a month. And we learn that it's been 5 days since the entire situation with Bryn, and every time she thinks about it, her body just lights up. Her parents don't really understand the appeal of the touring company because they don't know why people would actually want to visit the monsters, and some of them are actually quite dangerous. And they ask her where this new tour is going. She obviously does not want to tell them that she's going into the Purple Lantern District because her mom would freak out. And then her mom tries to convince her to come back and find a young man and settle down. Ivy doesn't want that. And that, she at one point had a young man and he left her to pursue a career. Abby's mom tells her that she should have just tried harder and that she needs to hurry up and find a partner because her father and her want grandchildren before they're too old. All Ivy can think of is if she dated a Minotaur and like, what if that Minotaur was Bryn and like would her
She was just
family?
thinking about what would happen if she was dating a Minotaur and she brought that Minotaur home to her parents and what they would think of that, where they're all like, oh, you need to find somebody respectable and what that would look like.
Yeah. She thinks all this thought is so crazy though, because whatever. But also like her and Bryn have been talking almost every single day since the incident happened. But she is putting in a little bit of extra attention into her appearance because she wants to look great for the tour. But she also really wants to look good for a certain hunky Minotaur that would most definitely be watching from across the street. Bryn has been antsy all day. He knew Ivy was coming with the new tour and he's just been waiting for her to arrive. But everything with her is distracting him and he's getting distracted at work. He's struggling to remember like bookings, like who should not go with who, and he's screwed up a couple of times. He also needs to get everybody else in for their health checks, and nothing has ever gone wrong except for now because he is fucking distracted. Bryn just keeps imagining going bareback with Ivy, and he's convinced that it's just another sure sign that he wants to mate bond with her, which makes him wince a little bit in that while she had been more than eager for his tongue, she wasn't a raunchy housewife who got a kick out of being sorry, who got a kick out of being drowned in Minotaur cum, although many human women loved it. But some women didn't enjoy the copious quantity of semen Minotaurs produced. An exact quote.
Buckets and buckets.
Yeah. Bryn knew that when a Minotaur yearned for unprotected sex, it was only with the one. So this is really putting it into his head that this is his mate. And all of a sudden his phone rings and it's his mom. His sister Mia fell off the climbing frame at school and broke her arm, and his mom can't get to the ER. So he's like, fuck, I need to go. And
Dude,
shit.
it's that and the monkey bars. Those are like biggest arm breakers.
Yep. So he runs out and he sees Vlad, who runs like the store next door, and he tells him, hey,
He's a vampire.
hence the name Vlad.
You never know.
And he tells him that when Ivy shows up, can you please just tell her why he's
Are
not
all
there?
Bryn's Minotaur?
Vlad just like is a vampire name. I don't know how else to describe it. It is a vampire name.
He could have been a Mothman.
Absolutely not. Motham. Anyways, Mothman. He explains to Vlad about his sister and he'll call her the moment he can. Vlad agrees.
Ivy's on her way. Please let her know what happened
Yeah.
and that I'm not just bailing. Everything's good. Just let her know and then I'll call her.
Vlad's like, sure, no bro, no shit, bro. No problem, bro. And says, you can trust me. We should not trust this man, by the way. So Ivy is excited and she's having a great fucking time. The first new tours have been booked by like a group of young women who just graduated from college and they've been having a great time. And they were kind of like trying to decide between Beast Hunters and Trixies, but the Beast Hunters' new itinerary really clinched it for them. So she's excited. Everyone's great. And they stop off and start walking around. Ivy looks over at the mail order Minotaur office and the door the door's super closed. The door is closed. The blinds are drawn. The place basically is just it's closed for business. And she's a little upset because Bryn knew that the tour was coming. And of course, the girls in the group were asking about it because they want to get some information. Of course they do. These girls want to get fucked by a Minotaur. Come on. And she tells them that the guy who runs it must have just slipped out for a minute. So let's go toward the sex shop first. So they do that. And when they finally go through all of that, they step back outside again. And it's still closed. And she doesn't want to knock on it and like humiliate herself in front of all these girls. And these girls are just so fucking interested in it. And they ask, didn't they know that we were coming today? And Amy, who is one of the girls in the group, was saying that she knew a girl at college who used them twice. And apparently it's the best sex that she has ever had. And that's one of the reasons that she even came here. And that the guy who runs it is so hot because of the video on the website. Ivy tells her that he doesn't work as an escort anymore. She is a little miffed about this. And they ask her a lot of questions about how she knows. And she says that she has not tried out the service. Of course, they keep asking about Bryn. And she does not want to think about other women pleasuring themselves to his video. She is very jealous. Vlad shows up outside and tells Ivy that the boss had a personal emergency, and Ivy asks if he'll be back, and he just says, I doubt it. His beloved angel just broke her arm. Vlad, why are you like this? Vlad does not go into any more description, by the way, and just tells Ivy that Bryn will always put her before work, this beloved angel. Ivy has no idea who Vlad is talking about and who this woman is, and Vlad, again, does not expand on it, so she just feels so foolish about it. Vlad goes into the shop and grabs cards for all the girls. She gathers them all up, and they're gonna go get lunch, but she decides in her head that she is done with him. Bryn, on the other hand, is at the doctor's with Maya and telling her, you're so lucky, and doctor tells her she's so lucky because the fall would have been so much worse if she was an elf because she's a minotaur. She is built, bitch. She's also 5, but I mean, they're just trying to make her feel better about herself so she doesn't feel so like insecure. Bryn cheers Maya up and he just finds himself wondering again how Ivy's tour was going and that he hoped Vlad would, relay the message, but you also never know with Vlad because he likes to stir the pot. You should have thought of that ahead of time. So he brings Maya home and he does try to text Ivy to let her know that he was sorry he wasn't there, but there was a family emergency and to call him when she gets a chance. When he gets home, he is greeted with a welcome party of his family, and all he can imagine is introducing his entire family to Ivy and seeing her sitting next to him at the big table, and taking her hand in his underneath the tablecloth, and just be part of this circle of love. Not the circle of life, which is the Lion King, but the circle of love. Can you feel the love tonight? But he also hasn't gotten any replies from Ivy, and he just tells himself that he needs to calm down. Maybe she's driving home, and then he calls her and she doesn't answer, and he leaves her a voice message and she never returns the phone call. Later, he does call her again, and she does answer, but her voice is super clipped. And he asks how the tour went, and he said he was so sorry he couldn't be there. And she goes, I know, Vlad told me. And he goes, oh, okay, so you know it was super traumatic for her. And Ivy just says, I'm sure it must have been. He's like, so can we meet? And Ivy just says, I think it's best if we don't. I mean, the whole last meeting again and the other stuff, I think we should stop. I can't have casual sex with a guy who has someone else in their life. Bryn then informs her that the small little detail Vlad forgot to say is that Mia is his little sister. He wants to go over to her house to explain his whole family situation. So he's going to head over in an hour so that they can talk. As soon as he gets there, though, he greets her by kissing her, and it gets pretty hot from there. And she starts playing with his tail, and he warns her that if you play with my tail, sweetheart, things could turn very wild very fast, which makes Ivy increase her speed. And this, in turn, makes Bryn tell her, we need to go to your bedroom. And they strip down, and Ivy blows him, and
That escalated quickly.
it escalated quickly. Holy shit. Ivy blows him, and then after she blows him, he starts going down on her and like adding fingers because we all know she wants to bang him, and he needs to prepare her poor vagina for a Minotaur cock. Come on. Like, you got to prepare yourself. And he wants to obviously bang her. Before he had left his house, he had grabbed a bunch of condoms, hoping that they would bang. And of course, they're extra large for Minotaurs. So he lubes her up and warms her up, and then they fuck hard. And it was perfect afterwards. He just can't help but think that everything is so perfect and that she really is his Aruda. You happy?
Love tonight.
And that soon they could enter into the mate thrall, which is a period of intense lovemaking when he would basically just make her pregnant. She jokes about asking how much she owes him, and he's a little shocked, but
Bang,
obviously she was joking.
bang.
She bangs. Yeah, she was joking. He tells her that he's going to explain his life circumstances to her and that he does have commitments, but he doesn't have a mate. But his mom is disabled, and he has 4 brothers and sisters, and that mail order Minotaur pays for a person for his mother and her medications and puts food on the table. She asks what happened to his mom, and he explains about the entire birth situation. And like basically, she's got spinal cord damage. She asks if there's an operation that could help heal her spine. I don't know why I said it that way. Help heal her spine. But apparently there is, but it's very, very expensive, and full blood humans take priority. Even let Eevee, Pokemon, Ivy lets him know that.
Gotta catch 'em all.
Oh God, Ivy lets him know that her father has medical contacts and she could put in a word, and that if her father knew that he was her friend, that it could work. And Bryn's just like, "Are we just friends?" And Ivy just responds, "It's more than that for me." And then she asks about those words he said the other day, Laruda, and what do they really mean? Bryn explains to her that they
You
are
keep saying it like Aruba,
Aruda. I'm not saying Aruba.
but you're like putting it all together instead of like the 2 words.
Aru. Duh.
Aruda. Yeah.
I'm gonna be so sassy about it. Anyways, they are ancient words that a Minotaur speaks to pledge eternal love to his one true mate. He does think that like it may be a little too soon, but it's okay. Ivy is totally there for it. She doesn't think so. So Bryn wants her to meet his family. Bryn asks what she thinks her parents would think of her dating a Minotaur, and she just says she's not sure, but she wants him, not somebody just to please her parents, and she doesn't care what they think. They both admit that they love each other. Bryn goes into Vlad's shop the next morning, and he is pissed, and he confronts him. Vlad just says that humans and monsters don't integrate very well. His nephew was engaged to one, and the woman kept saying like she would assimilate, but she pulled the pin just before the wedding. And then Bryn just makes the fucking funniest comment. And he just goes, well, yeah, the idea of joining the undead mafia might be off putting. Vlad just warns him that you can't trust humans and that he has the scars to prove it. But Bryn's not going to be put off by this, and he heads off to the clinic to get his mom's medications and also to get his clean bill of health because he wants to bear back this woman. We learn a little bit of a history of like the founder of Motham and then this dude named Waldo. And this was my quote. This was my notes before I realized that I was correct. It just said Waldo, who is the pharmacist? I feel like he's a little psychic wizard person. So he's a warlock, by the way. Oh, I know. It's just I feel like he's a
You're
little.
a wizard, Waldo.
Where is Waldo?
The pharmacy.
So he grabs some medication, which the cost has gone up, and it's just because Tween is making it so much harder for the monsters to actually have medication. Waldo, then, after his 10-minute like appointment before that, greets him, and Bryn tells him that he wants a copy of his health certificate. Health certificate. Oh, and they said, "Oh, this guy's a warlock." Dude, I'm telling you. Waldo asks if this means he has finally met somebody. Bryn tells him that he has, and it's very unexpected and very intense, and that she is a human. And Waldo tries to reassure him that, bonding with pure bloods, all I had was a Harry Potter flashback, is very common. And Bryn is concerned. Like he's happy about it, but he's also concerned that Ivy's family is going to disown her. But Waldo gives him a clean bill of health and tells him that he is safe to have unprotected sex with her until peak mating time. And then by that time, their mate thrall will sweep them both away. So be prepared for that. Waldo does make sure, that Bryn has told Ivy what she's in for. Bryn says that he has basically like hinted at it. Basically, how much cum this man is gonna have. So much cum. Buckets of cum. It's just the name of the episode is Buckets of Cum. He tells Waldo that he asked Ivy to come meet his family, but then he's like, "Oh fuck!" But I also have to go meet hers. And Waldo tells him to just stop worrying about it, and that fate knows why he was drawn to Ivy, and just let fate work it out. And then we get time. Ivy is meeting Bryn's family, and he's gonna pick her up on his motorbike and bring her there. And she's getting ready. And there's a knock at her door, and she's like, "Oh, I didn't even hear the bike get here. Also, it's 15 minutes early. What the fuck?" It's just Shauna, and she's just stopping by. Shauna's just checking in to see how she's going, and she's like, "Oh, do you want to go get a quick drink?" But Ivy tells her she's not going to be able to, and she's actually going off to meet Bryn's family. And Shauna is very happy for her, and it really goes to show the friendship that they have built in this very short period of time, which is great though, because sometimes it doesn't take a lot. Shauna originally had her own reservations based on her own bad experiences, but she knows that Minotaurs are not as malicious as the vampires. They talk about Shauna's job, being the real estate agent, and Shauna was just explaining how all these monsters are wanting to get houses outside of Motham. They legally can't do it though, because they need a human partner to make it valid. And one of her clients, who was a dragon, had asked her.
And there's a book coming up with the dragon, and I think that's going to be theirs.
And a dragon had asked her to help him find a human to marry so he can get through the yeah, get it through the Council of Towns. And she's not a dating consultant, but who knows? She might start a dating agency. Could be a new venture. Shauna is excited to see her go on
Going to
this
be a
date.
new venture, all right.
Shauna wants to meet Bryn, which is so great. And he comes in and she tells him that she's heard so much about him, good things, and then says, "Oh, well, I need to go. I have a date with a boring ass human, by the way." And she leaves. So they head over to Bryn's family's house and he introduces her to the entire family, and everyone is so welcoming with like loving arms. And when Bryn finally introduces her to his mom just says, "Let me stand to look at you properly," and that she is beautiful inside and out. Ivy gets a look at all the family photos because she gets like a little tour. They see a picture of Bryn's dad, and the mom just says that he was the love of my life, Ivy, my best friend too. If you and Bryn can be that to each other, then you have found something very precious. Mia does not want Ivy to go home, but she definitely has to go. She had the best evening with his family, and it was so unlike her own childhood because she's an only child and it was very, very lonely. But the night's not over for them. He's going to take her someplace because obviously they want to bang some more. And they are going to go to, is it the Briar Rose? Yep. Which is the name of Sleeping Beauty, but that's besides the point. The Briar Rose, I guess Motham proposed to his human bride in this place, and he is the founder of Motham. And it's a very special place for lovers. And they're going to go there for the night. And obviously, Bryn tells Ivy that he's clear health wise. and that there has been no one but her in months. And he promises that from now on, there will only be her in his bed and by his side. And Ivy says that she would love to make love without protection. But what about pregnancy? Oh, and he tells her that pregnancy is not going to happen if they have unprotected sex because she's not fertile, and that he'll be able to, he'll be able to tell when she is fertile. And they get naked and actually take a bath together. She admits that she masturbated to him while watching the video, and then they masturbate together. After the bath, they get out and
They bang! They bang!
on the bed. And Bryn tells her that this night with her has made him the happiest in the whole of Motham, and that he wants her in his life forever, but that he still has to meet her parents, and he doesn't think that they will embrace him with open arms.
They're
Ivy
worried.
insists, open arms, with
With
arms
arms
wide
wide
open. That's what I was
open.
looking for, and my brain had nothing. Ah. Yeah. Ivy insists that they will and that they'll understand as soon as she explains what she feels for him. She is going to go see them this weekend, explain that she met someone special. He is a Minotaur, not a human. Bryn is concerned about them and that if they disapprove, she insists they're not going to disapprove, not when they know him. And besides, they love her, so they will welcome him because he is her partner. After breakfast the next day, they head back to her apartment and they get a little distracted and they head up there and they're like kissing and the doorbell rings and she thinks it's going to be Shauna. And when she opens the door, it's her parents. Ivy.
No.
Ivy is frozen in place.
She's
Not
like,
like the movie
oh,
Frozen. She's just like frozen, like a statue.
yes, didn't see this coming.
Yeah, and she has no idea what to say. But Bryn just steps in and tells them that, oh, she wanted me to check a leaking pipe and it's all fixed. I'll be on my way out. And he just leaves. And Ivy is just shocked. And her father is so awful. He's like, oh, the way the beasts are coming into people's homes these days on the pretense of work, and he could have taken advantage of you and all blah, 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 blah. All Ivy can think of in her head is like, why did I not say anything? Why was I so fucking silent? And then she openly admits, like, he's not a handyman, and he only said that because he wanted to save her from embarrassment, and that he is her boyfriend, and that he had helped her out after one of her tours went wrong, and a woman hit her in the face with a handbag, and she loves him. But daddy, I love him.
I'm having his baby.
No, I'm not.
That comes much later in this book.
Yeah. Sorry, I got a little carried away there. Her dad is like, see, I knew this would happen. I knew this would happen if we let her go off and live on her own. And her mom says, I couldn't stop her. She's an adult. And Ivy says, you're right, mom. I am an adult and I can make my own decisions because of
Adults don't usually have to say things like that.
I can make my own decisions about who I love. Her dad tells her that she can't be with a Minotaur because they are below them. Ivy goes off on them, which good for her. Her dad can't protect her, nor does he need to, because Minotaurs are the most amazing creatures. And one of them is the guy she's falling in love with. And if you can't accept that, and I'm sorry, I won't change my mind, then her mom, out of nowhere, just says, this feels like fate. And then they should just be thankful it's a Minotaur.
The whiplash.
I know. And maybe it's time that we tell her some things. Turns out Jim is part Minotaur. It's only like a 16th. Well, she's a 16th, so like a 15th. But like over the years, 14? I don't know. I don't know math.
His grandfather is like half or something like that.
Yeah. Over the years, they were basically trying to breed out the Minotaur gene completely and through his family. His didn't completely go out. He's got like two little lumps on his temple. They're really, really visible when his hair is wet. So technically, she has Minotaur blood in her. Her dad is still not fully sold on it, but he does trust her intuition. He's like, I guess I won't be a hypocrite at the expense of my daughter's happiness. So if she truly does care for him, they'll just accept Bryn, courting her, whatever. Bryn, on the other hand, is just feeling so rejected by Ivy because she was so silent, which fair feelings. And he goes home and his mom instantly knows that something is wrong. And she asks him if he wants to talk about it. And he does. He tells her everything that happened. And his mom just says, you can't just give up like that. I could tell how much you two care about each other just being with the two of you. And he replies, but she didn't acknowledge me, mom. And his mom just says, did you give her the chance to? Shock makes time elongate, and it was probably just a few seconds of her not speaking. Bryn, admits that he just went straight into shame. And that habit just had been so ingrained in everybody to just be ashamed of being a monster. And then all of a sudden, a car's just speeding down the street. It's Ivy.
Where did she get a car?
know.
Because she took a cab every other time and she needed a ride
Maybe
every other
she took
time.
her parents' car and just left her parents there. I don't know.
It
Just a
just
car
was
is
kind of,
speeding down. Let's not think
well,
logically
not
here.
only that, but he was only there for like 5 or 10 minutes and they live an hour away.
I don't know what to tell you.
How'd she get there so fast if she had this whole conversation with her parents?
Clearly she was speeding. Well, like if he took I don't he took the time to get to his house, so she was I don't fucking know. I don't know. Okay? I don't know. Okay? Shut up. Anyways, it's Ivy.
Fine.
She
I'll
sees
take the
him and
logic
she
out.
throws herself into his arms and tells him that she was so sorry and that she just froze. And he walked away before she could even say anything. And he's apologizing back and he says that he thought she was ashamed of him. And Ivy is just like, why? Why? Why would I think that? I met your family after saying I loved you. And like, why would I deny it? Like, my parents and I was just so fucking gobsmacked seeing my goddamn
Daddy, I
parents.
love him.
I know, seeing her, and I froze. And before I could blink, you ran away. He does admit that he overreacted. So this is not a typical man because that will never happen. We learned that she did tell her parents pretty much all about him, but she did like gloss over the mail order Minotaur part because they don't really need to hear about that just yet, which fair enough. Then Ivy talks to him about the entire story about her father's heritage, and it's basically as if it's meant to be with them. She insists that they'll totally be inviting us over soon to visit and that she doesn't want to wait. She wants to acknowledge him as her Aru da in front of the entire world.
Crystal's gonna get arrow stabbed.
Good luck doing that, bitch, from so many miles away. So he doesn't want to wait either. He's already been planning an extension to the house to have their own wing and in the back a nursery for the. How is he going to build this if he doesn't think he has any money? Is my question. Anyways, with a nursery for the first baby, so they're already thinking babies and everything. So 3 days later, he's sitting in his office doing accounts, and he's concerned again. He's concerned about the salaries with all the expenses that are happening, but yet he wants to build a wing onto this house for babies. I don't know. He thinks that maybe he should invest more time into like promo. And he's just been so swept up with Ivy. And then he hears a hover cab landing outside. It's Ivy's dad. He calls him Jim. And Jim just says, I understand you're courting my daughter. Are your intentions honorable? And he insists that they are. Jim says that there was a copy of a journal that his family kept under lock and key that he had found as a child, and it's the Almanac of Monsters. The copy that they had in their home library was covered in handwritten notes, and he soon realized that the notes had been made by his grandfather. But when he told his mother that he had found it, she swore him to secrecy and made him promise to never mention it. And what did he do? He took the volume and hid it and read it over and over and over again until he understood his roots. And that it just seems that fate has decided it is time for him to stop denying his bloodline and to finally own up to the Minotaur that runs through his veins. He's also not going to shout it from the rooftops that his son-in-law runs the mail order and Minotaur business, and he's just going to tell everybody that he runs a handyman business because. But then he asked, "What's wrong with his mother's health?" Because Ivy did mention the mom's health and everything when they were having a conversation. So Bryn explains that she sustained spinal injuries during his sister's birth, and she's mostly confined to a wheelchair, and that she hasn't seen a neurosurgical specialist.
The surgery is not available to her because the options aren't available to monsters because the humans take priority.
Her dad says that he has a friend who's the best in the business and he's going to get her a consultation and that his mom will be part of the family now. So they're going to take care of each other. Ivy's dad said that he's not going to tell the people of the tween just yet about the Minotaur blood. And he needs to give it time because the Council of Towns are a very conservative bunch. So he has to tread carefully. The conversation ends saying that they want to formally invite them to tea next Sunday with their daughter in their homes, like in their actual house. Bryn tells Ivy about the visit and explains everything that they talked about and that her dad offered to help with his mom's health and that he's going to organize a consult for him. So they're very excited about this. So Sunday comes and they're going to head off to her parents' house. When they get there, this house, gorgeous, and it's got beautiful gardens, lots of plants that you don't see in Motham, and the air is just so pure. Motham can't grow certain plants because they're just not available to purchase, and also the soil is shitty. So the parents greet them, and Margie, which is her mother, apologizes for their first meeting. They were all kind of just taken by surprise during all of this. Of course, during this tea, the mate
In
thrall
the middle
decides
of the tea,
they need to
the
mate.
maid thrall,
And
the
yeah,
thrall
so
hits.
they need to get the fuck out of there. So they say goodbye, they leave, and Bryn asks if Ivy knows what's happening and that they're in a mate thrall. And if they don't get somewhere fast, he's going to fuck her right there on the back of his bike. So they actually go to this like cabin in the Lakes District, which was her family's holiday house. She hasn't been there in a while, but she knows where the key is and it's quiet. There's no neighbors and they'll have it all to themselves, which basically means I can scream my lungs off and no one's going to think you're murdering me. He says, perfect. It'll be like what humans call a honeymoon. Ivy says, except they're not married. Bryn looks at her and says, we can't choose when the thrall will happen. It won't wait for convention, but I promise you, Ivy, we will get married. You know that. Now, he is hers, marriage or not. An hour later, they get to the log cabin and they have a little trouble getting in because the door is a little swollen from, not being used. And they finally get in there and they get into the bedroom and then they fuck. And then after they fuck,
They fuck some more.
they fuck some more, and then Bryn props her up so that she can retain his seed for like 10 minutes. It's just tradition. It's not anything scientific. Of course, Ivy very hungry, but they'll go to the supermarket after she's done because don't want to send a Minotaur
Babies
into the supermarket by himself and like these fancy people.
in these human pots.
Yes. So they'll go to the supermarket after she's done chilling with his semen inside of her. And they'll tell each other they love each other and they tell each other they love each other. And then, she's like, is the 10 minutes up? I am hungry. She is not hungry for food though. And then they fuck again. And then we have an epilogue, which is a year later, and they have twins. They had their twins 3 months ago, and it was a natural birth, and they were smaller than expected, but that's okay.
Because she's
His,
small.
his mother had her operation 6 months ago, and it was successful, and Bryn had let the most experienced escort take over running the mail order Minotaur. And then they branched out into same sex services, which have been very popular. And then when Harold had said he was ready to retire, they agreed it was a great idea to buy Beast Hunters. They both wanted equal time caring for Amelia and Luke, which are the twins. So he moved his office into his mom's old bedroom so he could co parent with Ivy. Bryn is giving her a little bit of a surprise, and they're headed to the Goblin restaurant that they went to on their first date. And then he also had booked the honeymoon suite at the Briar Rose Hotel. We learned that since her father owned up to his heritage, he lost a ton of patients, and the Council of Towns threatened to remove his practice license. So her parents decided to move to Between. Her dad was due to start a new medical practice, and there was already a really long list of patients. And then Bryn proposes to Ivy, and that's it. Congratulations, you win.
Ta-da!
Ta-da!
Who
So
was your favorite character?
I really liked Shauna.
Yeah.
I liked her. She was good. How about
And
you? It
Bryn.
was good. He was a good dude. I liked him.
Yeah. Who was your least favorite?
Fucking Vlad.
Yeah. Oh,
God
and
damn.
her dad, really.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't care if he had his little redeemable bits.
And the humans. That's great. Okay. Well, Amazon gives us a 4.3 and Goodreads gives us a 4.1. What did you rate it?
Rated this 3.5 stars. It would have been higher for me if it had been edited properly.
I can agree with that. Because I did like the story. It was cute. It was
Yeah, it
funny. It
was
had some
cute.
bits
It,
in
you
it.
know,
Like I definitely liked it. But yeah, I agree that had there been more editing, it would have been higher for me. How about your cucumber rating? So many buckets of cum.
yeah,
So many
but
buckets of cum.
everything was really quick and glossy.
You haven't said that word in a while.
I know.
Ooh.
Glossy buckets have come. I'm gonna go with a 4.
What the fuck? Oh man. Okay. I'm gonna go with like a 5. Yeah, if there was like more of the banging, I think
Yeah,
I would have liked it. Oh, like I would have rated it higher for that.
right.
So,
How about your survivability?
oh, I would say I feel like I would be fine, and it's gonna be
Mhm.
the same thing as what I've had in other ones. My vagina would not. I physically would be fine.
I don't know, because I mean, you're kind
That's
of
a lot
used
of
to
cum.
that Minotaur life, so it might be happy. Maybe you like the drowned life.
Drowning in buckets of glossy cum.
Yeah, it's like a milk bath.
Oh God.
Aren't those supposed to be good for your skin? Like a milk bath every day, baby. Well,
What is wrong with you?
on that note, maybe we should see what we're reading next week.
Apparently, the wheel sometimes wants me to open my mouth, so let's see if it wants me to do it again. But not in that way, you sick perverts. So let's find out. What are we doing next? Let's Wheel of Fate this shit. Are you ready?
If it's another you book, I'm gonna laugh so
If it's another
hard.
me book, I might cry and you might have to find another podcast partner. It's fine because she already wants to.
I advertised.
Angie has volunteered. Anyways, let's spin this wheel, bitch. Let's see what we're doing. It's not going to be me. The Darkly Madly duet.
Okay, that's definitely
Which means
me,
I get
'cause
to
that's a
shut up
duet.
for a week.
Oh, I've been wanting this one. Okay, so this one is definitely a me book because it is a duet, but it's an all-in-one. It's like an omnibus. It's by Trisha Wolfe. He challenged her sanity. She shattered his reality. They dared each other to the brink of madness. A dark and twisted maze awaits criminal psychologist London Noble when she falls for her patient, a convicted serial killer. Dun dun dun. As she unravels the traps, her sanity tested with each game, she's forced to acknowledge the true evil in the world around her. Born madly. A duet, a performance by two. But who's acting and who's devolving? A buried past is unearthed, and Grayson Sullivan, aka the Angel of Maine, retaliates against the system who made him, deploying psychological warfare on the woman who initially set him free. Dr. London Noble probes deep into the mind of the serial killer she's fallen for, searching for answers, as a copycat killer threatens their unity. Are they partners, lovers, or enemies? One final trap will reveal all. Well, this is going to be an interesting.
That'll be interesting.
So, yeah, join us next week as we do a twofer, a duet.
A duet.
And
We haven't done a duet in a while.
I know, but I love when they put it in a all-in-one.
Me too.
Join us next week. Make sure you read along with us and make sure to keep reading.
And keep it smutty.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, fuck.